guys, and welcome back to another video. Today I thought I would just spend some time and just sit down, as 2 weeks ago we went on a Cunard voyage on the amazing ship Queen Anne, and we've sort of come back and had like 2 weeks to sort of reflect on the holiday and sort of think about our time on board. So now I thought I'd do a video just talking about the trip. So this is a bit of a sit down vlog, a bit of a review, just things that we got up to and just sort of recapping the holiday. And I'll just say I'm currently filming this on a weekend of like the hottest day of the year. It's like 28 degrees here in the UK, which is a scorcher. People might be watching thinking, well, that's not hot at all. In the UK, that is really, really hot. We don't have the facilities to like be okay in that type of weather. It is just really, really hot. So this is why I'm looking like this. I'm not on holiday. It's just a very, very hot day. Let's start by just giving a bit of an overview of why we booked the voyage. So I had been on Queen Anne twice before for a day visit. I was lucky enough to be able to go on board for the day on 2 separate occasions. I was completely blown away both times. I just couldn't believe that this was a brand new ship. It was just stunning. And I hadn't actually done a proper Cunard sailing, and I hadn't been on Queen Anne for any sailing other than the ship visit. And my parents had never done anything remotely relating to Cunard at all. They didn't really know much about it. They had a lot of preconceptions that I quickly sort of myth busted for them, but they weren't aware of really the brand other than sort of what they saw on the news, TV, social media, and they really wanted to try a Cunard voyage. So I thought, well, let's try their newest ship. By the time that we were sailing on her, she had just turned 1, so that is still really, really new in terms of like cruising and ships. So we thought we'd give her a try. So that's why we essentially booked that voyage. It was sort of for me to try an actual sailing and for them just to try Cunard, like full stop. So that's why we booked it. So let's talk about, first of all, our stateroom. So we booked a BB grade balcony. In terms of accommodation for Cunard, that is a Britannia balcony. The grade is BB. That doesn't mean it means Britannia balcony, but that was the grade we booked, which is essentially a midship balcony stateroom, which is the more favourable location to be midship. So I'm glad we booked that. We got stateroom number 8032. We did book this on the Saver fare, so we didn't choose that stateroom. It was allocated to us, I want to say about 3 months beforehand, but it can be any time up to even the day of departure. So we didn't choose the stateroom, but we were very, very happy with the stateroom location. It was about 2 staterooms away from the lifts and the stairs, which we personally love that. As you may know, anyone that sailed before on any sort of ship, the decks that have these staterooms, the corridors are just one long corridor and they are very, very long. We personally prefer to be very close to the lifts and the stairs, so we can just leave our stateroom, turn left or right, and then you're right there. Some people don't like that because of noise or anything like that. We never have an issue with noise, never ever in our cruising history have we ever had noise due to being close to the lifts and the stairs. So we personally love that. If you don't love that, I completely appreciate that. Not everyone would, but that's where we were allocated. So of course our stateroom was a 3-berth. So when me and my parents go away, we always have that one stateroom or cabin. So the sort of the configuration or layout will always be my parents having the main bed and then I'll have like the sofa bed. Doesn't matter to me. I think a holiday is a holiday. If I can go on it, I don't care where I sleep. So I'm more than happy with having whatever bed is available for me. But the layout was so we had a sofa which was pulled out sort of like that way rather than lengthways, if that makes sense. It was pulled out rather than just along, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But what we would say is, when it was pulled out in the evening, our steward would obviously pull it out in the evening and then pull it back and make it into a sofa bed like during breakfast. But we noticed that whenever the sofa bed was like actually made out to be a bed, we would have to climb over the bed to get to the balcony, and we would sometimes struggle to open the fridge. We were able to open it, but like you wouldn't be able to open it fully. You would have to open it very slightly and then sort of get what you want from there. That was mainly my mum wanting, like, she brings her own milk on board because she's dairy free, so she has a specific milk that she likes. So it wasn't a struggle, it was just something to note. The stateroom itself was spotless. I honestly could not fault the stateroom whatsoever. It was fantastic. I just want to give a shout out to Arvi, our stateroom steward, who was outstanding. Whenever we saw him, he would always come up to, like, or shout even from the round down the corridor, like, "Hello, Miss Lockley, have a lovely day." So it was lovely. He was fantastic. Even coming in when we embarked onto Queen Anne, when we went to our stateroom for the first time, our luggage, he actually brought our luggage into our stateroom and left it in our stateroom, which other cruise lines don't do. So I think it was just a really nice touch, like just to have the luggage already in there waiting for you. And even on the last full day, he brought our suitcases out from where we stored them under the beds, ready for us to pack. That was funny though, because it was almost a hint of like, right, you know, you're done, it's time to pack now, I'm getting your suitcases out, it's time to go. But he was fantastic, yeah, so thank you very much, Arvi, for just being a fantastic steward on our voyage. The size of the stateroom, I would say, is pretty standard in terms of like cruising accommodation. Cabins or staterooms aren't generally of a larger size anyway, because they are just what you'd expect on a cruise ship. But what we did notice is we had a lot more storage than other cruise lines or other cruise ships that we've been on. So we had, even for the three of us, we had loads more like wardrobe space. We didn't have as many shelves, but what we tend to do is pack with packing cubes. So when we unpack and sort of put all of our stuff away, like on the first day, we just put our like packing cubes sort of in like drawers or at the bottom of a wardrobe, just so it's easier for us to get what we need. But yeah, we did find it was like quite noticeable straight away. We're like, oh, there's a lot more storage than we thought, which was really, really good. Another thing that I want to mention is that I think this is very important for some people. There were USB ports and USB-C ports, and I want to mention that because USB-C is starting to be a lot more common with like new phones. You have to charge your Apple Watch with a USB-C, so having those in a new ship was amazing. It was like, it wasn't just normal USB, it was also USB-C, and there was about, I think 6 for each, or 6 total. No, I think there's 3 each, because there was one on each side of the main bed and there was one on the vanity. So we each had one USB and one USB-C, but there were also American and UK plug sockets. So, I mean, we didn't even need to use those, but we had them. So there were plenty of plug sockets. If you need more information on them, comment down below. I'm more than happy to tell you more about exactly where they were, because I need to rewatch my footage and find out. The bathroom was a really nice size as well. The shower was probably one of the biggest showers I've had on a cruise ship. It didn't feel too small, it didn't feel like massive where it took away part of the actual stateroom. But yeah, really, really nice bathroom, really modern. They had Penhaligon's toiletries, which is the sort of official toiletries sort of company partnership with Cunard, and they are amazing, really, really nice smelling. And Cunard offer a turn down service as well. Not many cruise lines do this anymore. I think coming out of COVID, yes, we still have to mention that, even though that was like 4 or 5 years ago now, but coming out from that, I think companies made a lot of cutbacks and stopped doing things like that, but Cunard still offer them. You know, do the proper turn down service. They'll re-clean the room, they give you little Cunard chocolates on the pillows, which like isn't even a big thing, but when you come back for the evening you're like, oh, a chocolate. And we, as you've probably watched from the vlogs, we were very excited about seeing a Cunard chocolate on our pillow. Next, let's talk about the food on board, and oh boy was there plenty of it. I cannot even tell you how good that food was. I didn't really even film much of the food because I was just so desperate to eat it. So whenever it came down and sat on the table, I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing. And I was like, oh, I need to quickly film for my vlogs. But the food was like varied. There were different like choices. It was like really, really tasteful and like actually delicious food, because on previous cruises I've been on with other cruise lines, the food is a bit samey and not as nice tasting, and I think that's just due to sometimes cruises obviously like make it in batches, so it's a bit not great. But this food was just outstanding everywhere. We ate in the Britannia restaurant, which was our main dining room throughout the duration of our voyage. We ate in the Artisans Food Hall, which is the buffet on board, and we also had food. We had afternoon tea in the Queen's Room. So those were the 3 places that we ate during our time on board. We didn't try any of the alternative dining, so the speciality dining, just purely because as a family we are just happy eating in the fare inclusive restaurants because there are plenty of choices for us, and we have like dietary needs in the family as well, which like it's not an issue at all, but we know that we will be accommodated in the main restaurant, so we don't feel the need to go elsewhere. But we may do in the future. Hopefully I'll get back on board soon and we might try alternative dining, fingers crossed. As you probably saw, my favourite sort of appetizer starter was the Caesar salad. Everyone knows, and like all my friends and family know, that my favourite meal to have out is a Caesar salad. It's not like a weight loss thing or anything like that, eating healthily. I just love a Caesar salad, and I usually have it with a side of fries as well. But I think most days my starter was a Caesar salad because that was always on the menu, and I knew that it would always be nice because it's delicious food. My main sort of varied. I did get a lot of veggie options. I'm not a classic vegetarian because I eat chicken, but that is all I will eat. So if there's no chicken option on the menu, I will go for the veggie or vegan option. I'm not going to have anything like lamb or beef or anything like that. But there was always a chicken option available, so I was always happy with getting that if there was nothing else that I liked. But the vegetarian options were delicious. They would have like goat cheese tarts. They would have like watermelon cubes that were marinated in tequila, which was very random, but at the same time really, really like sweet. So it was really, really nice. They had all sorts for main courses. My dad, he loves steak, so every night I think he did have the steak and the chips with the sauce, so he was fine. And my mum, she has a couple of dietary requirements. So she is lactose intolerant, and well, dairy, she just says she's dairy free. She also has an allergy to pineapple and peppers, like as in the bell pepper. And she was accommodated every day, even for lunch and dinner in the main restaurant, because we had lunch in there a couple of times as well. They have a really good process, and I don't know if this is just a Carnival UK thing because they had this on previous P&O cruises as well, but with Cunard, if your dietary need is sort of added to your booking, when you have your dinner, a waiter will come over with the menu for the next day, and you just need to tick what you want, and they will make it like in the appropriate way that you can have it. Okay, so so with mum, if she ticked something that had milk in it, they would obviously make it for her without milk, or they would make it with like an alternative to milk. So they were fantastic with that. Hopefully I'll do a vlog where my mum talks more about dietary needs on cruises, not just specific to this one, but for cruising in general, because so many people have allergies, intolerances, specific dietary needs, and I know it is a bit of a worry for some people that they may not have those needs met, but with my mum I can safely say they were met every single day, and they would always come over and check if she's okay, if she's happy with the food, and she was never left out. So if there was, you know, if there was really nice dessert, she wouldn't just have like fruit. They would make her like a chocolate dessert which was the same as mine but just with no milk in it, or the ice cream would be like not ice cream, it would be an alternative to like milk. So they were outstanding with the dietary needs. And just to mention as well, the Artisans Food Hall had choices for all of us, for all three of us. Even for my mum, they have a special diets corner that does include like gluten-free, sugar-free, dairy-free, all sorts of different dietary needs, and my mum was very satisfied with that corner. There were plenty of other options in like the main buffet section. She had a lovely pasta one day that I think she ended up getting the next day, but it was just like a tomato pasta with spaghetti that they made, like they make it to order there. So, and she loved it because obviously there was no milk, there was like no cheese or anything in it, it was just a tomato based sauce. So they had that, she was very happy with that. I sort of got a bit of everything really. They had pizza, they had like a potato, I got like a type of potato with like a meat, or they would have like a vegan option, or they would have fish and chips. They would have a build your own salad bar, so you would literally just go, can I have some of that, some of that, some of that, and a bit of dressing. Which I had that once and it was really, really lovely because they had like peas and sweet corn, which I just love having in a salad. So they had that. They had a sandwich section. They had a lovely dessert corner, which the desserts were like delicious. I cannot tell you how good the desserts were. They had 2 ice cream machines, which is all fair inclusive. They have one vanilla and one chocolate. You can either have it in a pot. It's like literally a Mr. Whippy thing that you just pull. So you can have it in a pot or you can have it in a cone. They had all sorts in that buffet. Like it wasn't the same either. Like again, like on other cruise lines, it would just be the same food, the same like type of stations, but they would always have something different for everyone. So we were very, very pleased with that. And then afternoon tea, we absolutely loved. Afternoon tea is a staple on Cunard. It's something that is very, very popular, and it can sometimes be not sold out because you don't pre-book it, but if you don't get there in enough time, there will not be any tables left for you. It's 3 till 4 in the Queen's room. We probably got there at about 20 to 3, and there were a few tables left, but people had obviously been sitting there for a lot longer than we had, but we managed to find a table for 4 and sit down. There was a lot of choice in terms of the sweets and the savoury. With the scones, you just had your plain and your fruit, but in terms of like the savoury, they would have like a chicken salad on a white like bloomer, like a little like almost like a vol au vent like type thing. They would have like finger sandwiches of like cream cheese and cucumber, salmon, things like that. And these sweets, they would have a jelly pot, a profiterole type like choux bun, I think that's how you pronounce it, choux bun. They would have banana bread and all sorts. I cannot tell you how many things they had at afternoon tea, and that's free. Like this is free. You wouldn't expect that, but I think because it is a Cunard staple, I don't think they will ever charge, because it's so popular. And again, just pointing out my mum's dietary needs, she didn't have to pre-order anything for this. They had dairy-free cream for her scones. They had dairy-free scones, sandwiches that she could eat. She had like 5 sandwiches. She had 2 desserts, which were these like dairy-free chocolate tarts. She had her own, like someone came over and just bought her own selection, and she could just pick and choose. So they catered for her, even when she didn't even let them know. Like they just as standard have that there for everyone who may need it. So we were big fans of the afternoon tea and the food. The food was probably one of the best, if not the best like meals I've had on a cruise ever in my like 12 years of cruising now. So we were very, very impressed. And then I'm just talking about life on board Queen Anne, like in terms of what there is to do. I think there is a misconception of Cunard that there is nothing to do, that it's you just sit around and do nothing. You can do that, but we didn't want to. We did quizzes, we did bingo, we watched entertainment in the theatre, we played golf. They have a putting green, so my dad loves crazy golf, so we were just constantly up there. There were deck quoits, played that. What else did we do? Shuffleboard, don't know how to play it, but had a go. We sunbathed because there was glorious weather in Bilbao, so we spent like 2 hours-ish sunbathing. We ate food, like afternoon tea was entertainment, something to do. And we listened to guest speakers as well. They had some really good guest speakers on board. So if you hear from someone that they say, well, there's nothing to do on Cunard ships, or if there's nothing to do on board, don't take that with like at face value, because they are wrong. There is so much to do. Even across the 4 queens on Cunard, there will always be something to do. They had like watercolour classes, ballroom dancing classes, but if you don't want to do any of that, you could also just sit and enjoy just sort of life. You can play games. There was a games room. We played Connect 4. We tried to start playing another game, but we didn't know how to play it, so then we just played like categories, I think it was, or something like that. But you can choose what you do. There is so much to do, but you can choose to do as little or as much as you want. I think that's where that misconception is. You just sit around and do nothing. You can sit and read a book in one of the bars, but maybe you want to go and try ballroom dancing as a beginner. Maybe you want to go to a fitness class. There is something there for you to do if you want to do it. I next want to talk about the crew. The service that we received on board was faultless. I could not fault, not that I was looking to fault, but we could not fault anything that anyone did. The staff were fantastic. I think you would almost expect that with Cunard, but again, I would take negative reviews about service with a pinch of salt, because I mean, I never take that for what it is. I always go with an open mind. Okay, well, if someone said the service wasn't great, that's okay. I'm gonna go and see for myself. And they couldn't do enough. Like, they were always checking if you were okay. They were always saying hello. You would just walk down a corridor and someone would say hello, you know, have a lovely day, enjoy Queen Anne. They were so happy to be on board and just to look after you, and it just felt so lovely to have someone just give you that type of service. I mean, it is the White Star service that they are trained in. You know, there is a dedicated program for Cunard where they have to be trained in White Star service, and they've got a little pin that they wear. But it really was fantastic service that we received from every single person on board. And I just wanted to quickly just touch on the itinerary. So we did like a northern Spain and France cruise. So we sailed to La Coruña, Gijon, Bilbao, and then Cherbourg at the end. We had never been to La Coruña, Gijon and Bilbao, but we have been to Cherbourg before, but we hadn't done any of the Spanish ports. We really enjoyed all 3 of them. I think because you've never been to them, you don't really know what to expect. So I think when you go somewhere for the first time, you are always going to be, oh, okay, this is lovely. You know, we've not seen this before. But I think our favourite port was Bilbao, not because it was just a lovely day, but because like we visited like the river and the waterfront where the Guggenheim Museum was. We walked around and looked in some shops. We sat by this lovely fountain and ate some banana bread that we took from breakfast, which is normal, everyone does that, by the way. But Bilbao was a lovely port. It really was, and we hope to go back there. And we've said this about ports before that we've been on a cruise. We hope to go back to them for like a city break almost. So we're going to add that to our list. So just to sort of like summarise this holiday, I think it was the best holiday or best voyage cruise that we have ever done. I absolutely loved every second of it. I didn't want to get off. We really enjoyed the ship. She is a stunning ship. She really, really is. She is my favourite ship, and I've said this like 10 times, but it's going to take a lot for some other ship to beat that, because Queen Anne is like, she is elite. She's like top of the league right now in my opinion. But she's stunning, and she still feels like Cunard in the best way. So I would very much say to someone that, you know, maybe has been on the other 3 queens and is maybe apprehensive about Queen Anne because she may look different, I would still encourage you to try her. She's still so Cunard. She has the Queen's room, she's got the afternoon tea. There are many things you can do on board that's exactly the same as the other 3 queens. There are still the Cunard staples, and I don't think Cunard will ever take that away, because that's why people book. But I just think there is something, you know, she's modernised, she's a more contemporary feel, which I love about her. So I would definitely say to give it a go, just to book on to Queen Anne, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as I did. But I hope this helped anyone that's booked on or is looking to book. We did have just the best time on Queen Anne. We really, really did, and hopefully that was reflected in my vlogs that you hopefully have watched as well. But we had the best time. She is a stunning ship. The staff, the crew were fantastic. We just love Cunard, and we love cruising. We absolutely love that type of holiday, and we will continue to cruise, hopefully now more so on Cunard as well. I'm definitely getting my parents to come on another one. If you have any questions about anything that I did on my cruise, anything you want to know, please do comment down below, and I would be happy to answer anything and everything. But I hope you have enjoyed this like recap, overview, review type vlog from my voyage on Queen Anne, and I will see you in my next video.